Being a great landlord isn't just about owning properties. It's about creating a positive living experience for your tenant while building a thriving rental business. My name is Anthony Johnson. I'm a real estate agent in Miami, and I'm also the creator of Audio.com. In this video, we're going to go through 6 habits of a great landlord. Now, if you find this content valuable, please like, subscribe, and comment. I would definitely appreciate it. Now, let's get into the video. I'm going to go through each of these habits, and then we're going to go through some actionable items at the end. So let's get into it. For the first habit of a great landlord, we're going to talk about the tenant screening process. A great landlord is going to run a thorough tenant screening. This involves landlords doing their due diligence on prospective tenants. By verifying income, checking references, and running a background and credit check, landlords can help minimize the risk of bringing on a tenant that stops paying rent or damages the property. By doing these things, the landlord can determine if the tenant's going to be a good fit for them and their property. Now, the second habit is going to be effective communication. Effective communication is just being responsive and keeping a line of communication open to the tenant. Promptly addressing any inquiries, concerns, or maintenance requests is key when it comes to building trust and maintaining a positive landlord and tenant relationship. For instance, if a tenant reports a leaking faucet, a great landlord is going to acknowledge the inquiry and get a plumber out there as soon as possible. Another habit of a great landlord is keeping the tenant informed in regards to anything relating to the property, whether it's renovations or changes to their policy. These things are a part of effective communication, which leads us to our next habit, which is regular property maintenance. In my opinion, regular property maintenance is what really sets individual property owners apart. When a tenant rents from a rental community, they typically have maintenance and management on site. This isn't the case when it comes to renting from an individual landlord. So when landlords are really on point when it comes to property maintenance, it really sets them apart. A good landlord is going to ensure that maintenance requests are taken care of, but a great landlord is going to proactively address any repairs, meaning that they're going to be doing regular inspections to ensure that the property is in good condition. By staying on top of maintenance, great landlords provide a safe and comfortable living environment for their tenant while protecting the long-term value of the property. For example, a landlord might establish a maintenance schedule where they inspect the property and ensure that everything's working fine, and they address any minor issues. By addressing minor things, the landlord avoids major issues in the long run. Now, next up, let's talk about fair and transparent policies. Many landlords do not have policies in place. Great landlords establish fair and transparent policies, and it's typically outlined in the lease. Clear policies regarding rent, maintenance responsibilities, a pet policy, and other expectations help set healthy boundaries and help landlords and tenants avoid misunderstandings. So let's say that a landlord has a pet policy. A great landlord is going to communicate this policy to prospective tenants during the screening process, and they're also going to include it in the lease agreement. By doing this, the landlord creates transparency, and it can help the landlord avoid potential disputes down the road. The fifth habit of a great landlord is financial responsibility. Financial responsibility is an essential habit when it comes to renting properties. A great landlord is going to pay bills on time, keep records of income and expenses, budget for any property improvements or condo association special assessments, and set money aside for any unexpected costs or vacancies. Staying on top of finances help great landlords run a profitable rental business. For example, a great landlord is going to utilize a Excel spreadsheet when it comes to keeping track of income and expenses. And expenses can include repairs, property taxes, insurance, or condo association fees. They also may utilize a property management software platform, which can help landlords streamline keeping track of their finances online. Now, the last habit of a great landlord is being responsive and respectful. This involves promptly addressing any issues that the tenant has, as we spoke about earlier, as well as giving proper notice when it comes to accessing the property. For example, a great landlord is always going to speak professionally to their tenant and treat them with respect. They're not going to just barge into the apartment or the property without giving ample notice. They actively listen and document the tenant's concerns and always address issues with empathy and professionalism. Now, we went through the 6 habits of a great landlord. Now we're going to go through some actionable items for each of those habits. So let's go back to tenant screening. You want to make sure that you have a process when it comes to how you screen tenants, whether it's a platform that you use, a specific rental application that you use, or what you're going to be looking for when you're looking at applications. And you also want to establish criteria when it comes to potential tenants. So that pretty much means establishing a minimum credit score or income threshold. A good rule of thumb when it comes to income is to require at least 3 times the rent as income. Now, when it comes to effective communication, you want to make sure that you have a clear line of communication for your tenants. This can mean having an established phone number or email just for your rental business. You can also utilize property management tools. There's a bunch out there for you to look at. And also utilizing templates for things like lease renewals and maintenance updates can help you streamline the process. There's going to be a link in the description where you can access some templates that I've created for my clients. Now, when it comes to property maintenance, again, you can use some online tools when it comes to allowing your tenants to report those maintenance issues, or they can simply email or text you. You also want to establish response time expectations. So in the beginning of the lease, you want to give the tenant a welcome letter, letting them know what to expect when it comes to your response times. For example, let them know that it's going to take you 24 to 48 hours to respond to non-emergency requests. Creating a maintenance schedule can definitely help you stay on top of any maintenance issues. You also want to maintain a network of handymen, cleaning people, and contractors when it comes to repairs and renovations. And you always want to encourage your tenants to report any maintenance issues promptly. I think landlords should take control of maintaining their AC units. Relying on a tenant to regularly change out filters is not the best idea. They may forget, and you don't want to have a tenant that keeps forgetting to change out the filters and it causes issues to your AC unit. When it comes to fair and transparent policies, make sure that you are actually documenting a policy. You want to make sure that you're staying on top of new laws. Providing a move-in packet also helps, which includes information in regards to how to pay rent, how to make maintenance requests, so on and so forth. And during the leasing term, you want to make sure that you're regularly communicating with the tenant when it comes to any policy changes. Now, another reason why you want to sign up for my newsletter, especially if you're in Miami, is that I'm creating a landlord policy via Notion. I also create content and I send out emails when it comes to any updates to laws or any changes in regards to Miami-Dade. Now, for finances, utilize some type of platform to track your income and expenses, and make sure that you create a budget and an emergency fund for your properties. And lastly, when it comes to being responsive and respectful, establish protocol when it comes to dealing with maintenance requests or any issues that tenants may have. Clearly communicate and provide ample notice when it comes to accessing the property. Make sure you communicate clearly when it comes to accessing the property. This is one of those things that you should establish from the start, especially if you're thinking about possibly selling your property. You want to make sure you let your tenant know from the beginning of the lease that you may be selling and that you're going to need them to cooperate with allowing access to the property for showings. Your tenant is your client, they're your customer. Always be respectful and professional when you're talking to your tenants, and address issues with empathy and professionalism. I hope that you found this valuable. Make sure you like, subscribe, share comments. I will really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.